Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. You click the link, you already know what it'll be, but I'm doing a cake based off of the most recent adaptations of Dune. I'm making Baron Vladimir Harkonnen out of cake. I originally was thinking about doing the David Lynch version of the Baron. That's still definitely on my to-do list. I just thought like the most recent version is probably the one that people are most familiar with. I think the Denny version is also really awesome, although I haven't seen the second act yet. I know I'm terrible, but I did want to get this video out. Also, it's because I really hate going to the movies when like a really anticipated one is supposed to come out. I just know the crowds are going to be crazy. I always like an edge seat because I might need to use the bathroom if the movie's going to be really long. And I just get anxious with like having that much people surrounding me and next to me. I just can't relax. So I always like to wait a little bit even though I really want to see it, just so I have a more enjoyable viewing experience. I digress. But we are going to be doing the scene from when the Baron is taking a bath. I think it's like sort of like a medicinal bath, and I'll reference that throughout this video. I'm just assuming that it's medicinal because it happens after Duke Leto like releases that poison gas and almost kills him. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to experiment with Jello. Like if you've seen those like ocean Jello cakes, like the bottom third is supposed to be sand, and that's cake, and then the top half is water, and that's made out of Jello, and I think they use like acetate or something to create that mold. And I always thought that looked cool. I don't know if I wanted to do an ocean underwater scene like that, but I knew that Jello and cake could go together. But I am really excited to make this, and I hope you guys enjoy watching it too. Here we go. Hey guys, so I'm about to start the sketch. Before I started that, I kind of wanted to give you an idea of just what I'm thinking, what my direction is for this project. For the bathtub, I bought a food tray. I'll just have him like sitting in the middle of it and then fill the rest of the tray with like a very thin layer of black Jello and maybe some cream Jello around him. Because if you look at the pictures, it's like this mix of color. It's not just pure jet black. And so the food tray is like cheap looking, but it's the best I could find, at least online, that was within my budget. And I think the effect will be there. It has this funny like cafeteria texture to it, but that would be covered by Jello, so it's not a big issue. I actually have to go into the office today, which is annoying, but I have to remember how blessed I am to be able to work from home. But I have to go into the office today, so I want to try to get this done in like the next 15 minutes. My sketches are always rough and quick, and they're not super beautiful. I don't spend too much time on them anyways. This is the look that I'm going for, at least just his body. You see that cream tone I was talking to you about. It kind of swirls around him. I don't know if I'll get that effect, but yeah, this is the image I'm going to be basing my sketch off of. Okay, sketch is now done. Doesn't look exactly like Stellan, let alone Baron, but I'm happy with it. Looks creepy enough for me. But yeah, he's in his bathtub, like I had mentioned, and this will be black Jello. Around him will be some cream Jello, hopefully. Excuse my terrible nail polish, how embarrassing. But yeah, sketch is done. Right on time because I have to head out. Next time you see me, I will be preparing the materials.
A few moments later.
For today, we are going to be making like the actual materials, and that includes the cake sponge, the frosting, and then the modeling chocolate. The sponge will need to cool, the modeling chocolate will need to set, so I usually like to do it the day before. But I did decide on the flavor of the cake. Sorry if the lighting is changing, the sun is coming out from behind the clouds. But the flavor of the cake I decided on was spice, because spice melange. It's Dune. It's the most like profitable commodity in that universe. It's a big part of the storyline, and so it only made sense. And if I'm gonna be completely honest, the spice that I'll be using is pumpkin spice. I could have bought like a spice cake mix. I don't really know what that mixture is, but I've had it before and it tastes very similar to pumpkin spice. I just have a lot on hand. I made a batch over the holiday, and so, you know, there's never a season where I can't eat the stuff. And then I have a regular cake box mix. I believe it's 2 teaspoons of spice per cake box. I'll be making 2 batches, so 4 teaspoons total. But yeah, let's start working on the cake sponge first. Gonna get started on the frosting now while the cake bakes. Okay, an annoying update, but I can't use the stand mixture like you just saw. I tried to get this whisk attachment to make the frosting, and this is the size it came in, and it's pretty short, so it doesn't even hit the bottom of the mixing bowl that I have. Like, it's just really tiny, and that's annoying, and so I pretty much got scammed. It does fit a KitchenAid, it's just, I'm guessing it's for a smaller size, so getting a new one in the mail. For now, I'll be using a hand mixer to finish this frosting off. And last but not least, the modeling chocolate. I have some black already. I think gray is the only color that I'll need, like a very light gray. So I'm just gonna make a bunch of white and let this set. Sponge is all done too. A little cracking at the top, but that's okay. Doesn't really matter. I also baked off the extra that I had over, and of course, I already started nibbling on it, and it tastes great. The batch of white is done. It's still very warm. Definitely needs a couple of hours, but I'm just gonna have it wait overnight since it's already the evening now. Okay, it's a kid. I heard like wailing outside. At first I thought it was coyotes. I live like in the hills. Get a lot of coyote action, but at night of course. So I just heard that right now, but I realized it's a child just wailing very bizarrely. Anyways, it's the next day and we're going to continue with preparing the materials. I don't know if you can hear that. The child is going insane. Here is the white modeling chocolate. It's definitely set. I'm gonna mix this with a little bit of black to get that gray tone that I need. Also, I will be preparing my cake sponges, leveling them off, stacking them, and then sculpting them, or just like kind of shaving off bits to look sort of like the Baron's body. I also realized that I didn't actually finish making the frosting last night. I just kind of gave up halfway through because the tools that I had just weren't working. Like the handheld mixer was just not cutting it for some reason. Maybe because I was, you know, doing such a huge batch that the hand whisk is just struggling to get through it. So I had ordered that new whisk attachment on Amazon, and it's supposed to come today, but it still hasn't come yet, and it's about like 3 o'clock right now. So I'm just gonna hold off on that, and it's a little bit of a delay, but that's okay. At least I'm getting like the peripheral things around it done first, so that when I am able to make the frosting, I could just slap it all together. Okay, everything's all done. I did make a little bit of black. I realized I need to seal him all the way around, or I just want to do that because it makes me feel better in terms of pouring Jello around the cake itself. And so I made some black to put on the bottom because you can't see it, so it doesn't matter like really what color it is. And of course, a whole bunch of gray. Now I'm gonna work on leveling off my cakes and trying to shave it down to look somewhat like his body. And this is what I have so far. So if it's obvious at all, it's just like his upper shoulders. I think I'm gonna do that method, like the cake pop method, where you mix cake sponge and frosting together to make kind of like more of a clay consistency, and use that for his head. Probably gonna need to secure it with some dowels. I still don't have any frosting yet. I haven't been able to finish it. It's just clumped together and sitting in my fridge because the whisk that I bought on Amazon was still the wrong size. So I went ahead and ordered another one. It should come at some point today, but yes, I am greatly delayed.
One eternity later.
Done. I stored them in these containers. They're freezer friendly. Just fun fact. But I like to make big batches at a time so I can have them on hand, because making frosting is a pain in the butt. I mean, making it itself is really easy, but like the cleanup, I just despise it so much. But yeah, let's frost this cake. Actually, before that, I realized it's still on the cutting board and not on that tray I had bought. I think I'm gonna go ahead and roll out a modeling chocolate base, like a very thin layer for the cake to then rest on. That way when I transport it to the platter, like I'm not handling like naked cake, which would be really frightening. So I think I'm gonna roll out that chocolate first. So putting this aside, there's that black modeling chocolate. I've been kneading it for a little bit just to soften it up. Just so it's easier to roll out. Anytime you're not using it, it's just gonna harden. Not that it goes bad or anything, you just need to like reapply warmth and kneading so that it becomes flexible and more malleable again. I think that's the right word. So let's roll this out so that it can cover at least the base of that cake. Frosted. So yeah, it looks crazy, but I'm gonna let it harden in the fridge. The frosting is very goopy and impossible to work with at this point, but letting it set in the fridge will make it just easier to like put the modeling chocolate on top of and work with, so it's not all slippery. And if I'm gonna be 100% transparent, the frosting I made, the butter split a little bit, but that's okay. This is not for a customer. This is just for, you know, fun times at home. So I'm not too pressed about it. And it still tastes really good, honestly. Actually, before that, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of lift this lip of modeling chocolate. Easy to manipulate versus when it's in the fridge. But yes, this is essentially step one in protecting the cake from getting infiltrated by the Jello that I am going to pour in later. Okay, next step is to roll out some of this gray to cover the cake, the initial layer, just so that it holds the cake together, seals it, and then I'll put the details on afterwards. So I just need this first layer on. Sorry, that's my dog walking in the background. You can see her go by. And I'll be rolling that out with a rolling pin as always. Here is the cake. Frosting is hardened, so I'm gonna put this guy on top of here and then try to seal where the black lip is so that no liquid can penetrate it. Okay, so here's the cake fully covered. You can see it kind of curves in because it's really trying to just make sure that none of that gel liquid is going to penetrate the cake, like I've already mentioned a couple times already. I'm sorry if I repeat myself too much. But I took it out of the fridge, so it's completely chilled and it's pretty hard. I think the trickiest part is just making sure that it stays firm, that while I'm working on it, it doesn't get too warm or soft, because, you know, there is frosting inside. So I just took it out for now because I'm going to measure how big I want his head to be. Again, this is just like from his neck down to his shoulders. So I just want to see proportion wise if what I'm going to be doing is going to make sense. And then I'll actually pop this back into the fridge because I don't want it outside in the elements for too long. Jumping in now because I was rolling out like the modeling chocolate I need to build his head, and his head is pretty big. So I originally said I wanted to do like a cake pop mixture, but I just don't think that's really possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and rely on Rice Krispie Treat. As usual, sorry if that's like a cheat to some people or a shortcut, but I just feel like that would be the most stable and easiest to work with because I do want to spend some time on his facial features. So I'm gonna go ahead and make some Rice Krispie Treat. Okay, the next day, so here's his head. He looks a little older than I intended. He doesn't necessarily look like elderly in his role, but he does have imperfections on his skin, like on the makeup effects that they used. So I think that's why it's reading as old right now, but I am pretty happy with him. He's lying flat, but it's because he's going to be kind of raised up and looking down when he's finally attached to the cake itself. And today is that day where I get to attach him. I made sure to clean the food serving tray, plastic cheap thingy. And then I'll be putting the cake on top of that, putting his head on top, kind of flushing out areas that he needs. And then after that is just pouring the Jello. Okay, head is now attached. I'm also adding the detail on his back, this like dark black device. It has some red lights on it as well. I just want to make sure that's on before I pour or color any of this project. Okay, that device is on and he's looking good. I think he's ready for Jello. I'm going to make the Jello mix while I have him in the fridge so that he can just stay cool. He's been out for, I don't know, maybe an hour now? Less than an hour, so this went by a lot quicker than I thought. But yeah, let's go ahead and make the Jello. Okay, Jello game plan. So I have grape Jello and lemon Jello, and the idea is that the medicinal bath that he's in is black. The closest color I could get to black was purple, but I do have this black food gel coloring that's pretty strong, so I feel like this should work. If it's not pure black, that's totally okay. I'm just trying to get to like a murky gross color. And then the lemon Jello is like, if you watch the movie, specifically that scene, so it looks black at the top, but underneath it's actually this weird yellow creamy color. And so I had to get lemon Jello to kind of pull off that gross creaminess. I have Silk Heavy whipping cream. I'm not vegan. I mean, I'm all for trying more plant-based products, but this is just what I had on hand. And I've seen like my mother-in-law make cream-based Jellos, and so I feel like this should work. Half of the water you use to mix the Jello powdered with some of this whipping cream. So half water, half cream into the Jello mix instead of like all water. I'm currently waiting for the water to boil right now, and then once that's done, we could start mixing. Jello has not been poured yet. It's in this cup. It is very black, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's kind of warm, so I thought I'd let it cool more. I'm pretty paranoid that the warmth of it is going to melt the modeling chocolate. I think I'm getting a little paranoid, but better to be more paranoid than not. I tried to look up times of like how long does it take for Jello to set or to set halfway, but I think I just need to do it by feel, because when I pour in like the yellow cream Jello, I don't want it to just like completely mix together. I want it to have more of like a slightly swirled effect, but more contained, but of course not like sitting on top or running over if the black Jello is too set. Saying that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and add like the color details of the bath water dripping over his head. I feel like I could still do that with this Jello mixture. I have another packet of grapes, so in case I run low on this, I can just go ahead and make another batch of Jello. We're just testing things right now. Okay, I'm also going in with a paintbrush because, I mean, it is dripping. It's beading more than I would like. I should have seen that coming because, you know, modeling chocolate is very hard to paint without any beading. It's kind of a thick liquid because of the gelatin. So it's still sticking on pretty nicely when I go over it with my paintbrush. So yeah, we're just gonna keep working on this. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I realized I do need to go in and kind of accentuate his features. I'm gonna use probably the food coloring powder that I have just to make it more distinct. I was like, oh shoot, I should have done that before I did the drippy effect, but then I realized the drippy effect would probably ruin the paint job that I want to do, so it all works out. Okay, I think that's good. I'm happy. I look at him and I laugh. This just, did you hear my shoulder crack? This just brings me joy. I love it. Okay, the Jello, I think, is cooled enough. Let's pour it in. So actually, after I made the Jello mix, of course, after I made it, I realized that grape and lemon probably don't go together. I mean, grape and lemon go together, but they don't go together with spice cake. That's okay. So I put in a good amount. I'm gonna pour in the rest while it's in the fridge because I really don't want to have to carry a very shallow pan of Jello, like 5 steps. Like it just, no thank you. I don't want to risk it. I'm super clumsy. And here is my Baron Harkonnen. All right, let's cut into him. Okay, now comes the moment of truth where I actually have to cut him open. Although I'm pretty confident that, you know, the integrity of the cake within the modeling chocolate hasn't been screwed with. But I have to mention that there's this bit in this corner that looks a little more wet. It has more of a sheen on it, and that's because I had to add another layer of Jello. When it was setting in the fridge, my fridge shelf is actually crooked, which is annoying. And so there was just this patch of exposed tray, and it was really ugly because it has those like ugly cafeteria hash marks on it. And so thank God I had that second box of Jello, which I then made and poured on top, so at least that part was covered. It kind of messes with like the clean flat look of the bath water, but I'm okay with it if I'm gonna be honest. Also, you could probably see this in the shot. This is my fake katsu curry that my husband got me for my birthday. It actually broke during shipment. It's like from Japan, but this is just a regular piece of decor that I have on my island. And yes, it is fake, in case that was bothering anyone, that I have this like beautiful plate of katsu curry just sitting here. Here it is. I think I'm gonna cut him from the other side. Yes. Ta-da! So I cut right where the frosting looks kind of crazy just because of how I wanted his shoulder to look. So yeah, I went a little ham on the frosting, didn't I? But the Jello did not penetrate the cake at all. Amazing. Now to taste. Sorry, the cake wasn't even in the shot. I actually already knew what the spice cake tasted like because we had so many scraps, so I was just munching on them. I mean, it was already good, but yay me. The Jello. Let's try the Jello. I'm just gonna use my fork. This is the lemon part, and there's some grape underneath. Woo! I think I used a little less water because I wanted to make sure it's set really firm. It's delicious, but the grape flavor is really strong. Yeah, Jello came out good too. And that was my Baron Vladimir Harkonnen spice cake. I hope you guys liked how it turned out. I was pretty happy with it. I guess my only gripes is that he doesn't look exactly like Stellan Skarsgård. Just, you know, just need to keep practicing working on human faces. And also the fact that like the Jello set a little bit too quickly, so the effect wasn't as I had wanted originally, but I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It went by really fast. So I hope you enjoyed the ride. If you like any types of nerdy, sci-fi, horror, anime related edible projects, this is the channel for you. Please tell all your friends. I would greatly appreciate if more people can join. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell. Anything that you do, I will appreciate. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.